Hey everyone, hey Sacred Tribe, welcome back after a long extended break that was much needed for Raven and I. Welcome back to our first new moon video after taking some time for ourselves, for our families. As you can see, I've got this little one with me now, and I seem to be doing a lot of content lately with her on my chest because it just seems that it's one of the only times in the day where I can really sneak off and get some video done is when I'm actually taking her and giving my wife a little break. But I digress. That's what's been going on with me in the last little while. And I'm very, very excited to be back, to be able to be back and do this for you guys. Because this is one of the things that really, really excites me, really touches me. Oh, got a new moon in Scorpio season, baby. I want to invite everybody to take a deep breath. In through the nose. One more time. Hold. And now let yourself ground for a moment and just listen to the sound of the drum. Letting go of all the tension that you're holding on to, taking a deep breath, raising your shoulders and letting them down. We find ourselves coming into mid-November with this new moon in Scorpio during Scorpio season. It's all this deep, rich healing energy. Right after, mind you, the eclipse season that we went through, the last one particularly, the lunar eclipse that we just went through, closed out a 2-year eclipse cycle that really brought a lot of closure. And so, why the healing now? Why this powerful double Scorpio moon now? Because after all that closure, after bringing up a lot of old patterns and coming to a close with all of the things that we might have gone through in the last couple of years, finding some gratitude in it perhaps, now is this time where we get to yeah, we get to reflect one more time. Not on the past, but on what's holding us back from the future. New moons are new beginnings, remember? And they're new starts, fresh perspectives. So, in this dark, divine feminine moon, yes, I'm really getting this strong, dark goddess energy from this, like Erd, Freya, Kali Ma, this like eat your heart out and heal it kind of energy. Because the greatest self love is having the love to heal yourself. What is holding you back? So it really prompts me to think of the theme behind the dark night of the soul. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, or maybe you are, but you need a reminder, the dark night of the soul concept is seen multiple times through our life. It's not just a one and done, but typically the biggest one may be a really big depression that we've gone through, or a really big phase of burnout. Often, too, we will go through a big dark night of the soul when we're going through our awakening, or different awakenings through our path. As I'm a big firm believer that we have multiple different awakenings to higher levels of consciousness. So this is something that we can experience time and time again, but noticing it and learning to see when we are going through it is so important. Now, I digress. Often, this dark period will happen when our avatar is at odds with our spirit, and our spirit is so fed up of the life that we've been living. You end up feeling at odds with the kind of behaviors you've been having, the kind of patterns you've been in, the way you treat yourself, the habits that you have. And so we go through this really dark period. It feels like just going through a dark tunnel. A lot of times it can feel like depression, or we can be honest with ourselves. It's perfectly fine to admit that a depressive episode comes before a level up. That at the same time, seeds germinate the most in darkness before they sprout and then they see the sun. So these dark periods in our life are so important. So important. What I get out of this then, this Scorpio moon in Scorpio season, after we closed out all of that eclipse energy, after apparently going through all of these things that may have surfaced over the last couple of years. So then what's left for this dark night of the soul kind of energy? Now, this is the time in the new moon to go inside and ask yourself, if you're still going through burnout, what's causing it? Is it maybe because you haven't really given yourself a chance to honor the sacred pause that you're being called to do? You spent so much time lately just shaming yourself for being burnt out at all, that you haven't given yourself the time to pause. Now is the time. Let yourself do it. Let yourself sit with it. Only then can this be the light at the end of the tunnel that it could be. Breathe into that. So I'm getting the chakra energy that I'm really feeling through this that would be a very effective to work with, and they're affected regardless because of all the energy that's at play, is spleen, root, solar plex, and throat. Spleen, of course, is connected to our lymphatic system. It's our immunity, it's our immune system. It's our body's ability to heal. And so I associate spleen very strongly with honoring your healing journey. Root is about grounding, honoring yourself right now. There's a phrase that's really been coming through loud and clear lately, like this message that it's like spirits telling me everybody's got to hear this. That if you are the type of person who holds your tongue to keep the peace, whose peace are you keeping? Because it sure as heck ain't yours. You're not at peace, are you? When you stay quiet to keep the peace and you disrespect your own boundaries, you're not at peace. You're at war with yourself every day that you disrespect your own boundaries just to keep other people happy. Let that sink in. Solar plex is where in the runic wheel, the rune in runic astrology that fits in this part of Scorpio is Sovilo, the sun rune. So within the solar plex is also taking care of your sun sign, honoring whatever your sun sign in the horoscope might be saying at the same time, but in other ways that makes you feel bright and confident and truly letting yourself shine. Now I know this might not be the type of year where we can go outside and enjoy the sunshine, but if winter hasn't hit for you just yet, then appreciate it while it lasts. But know that when you let that sun shine within you, it'll carry you forward, going ahead with this warrior-like confidence. It doesn't matter if winter's coming or not. You can be the light. And now as far as throat goes, that's a little bit self-explanatory at this point, isn't it? Speaking up, speaking your truth, and not holding your tongue and holding your boundaries is all throat. It's all speaking up and open your fucking throat. It's a power word. Use it. It reminds me of that funny joke meme when somebody insinuates that because you're all love and light and you're this holistic spiritual person, that means that you've got clean language and you're not going to swear. And the response is, and that's why the fuck your throat chakra is blocked. I digress. The really intense runic message that I'm getting from this is this very strong just fucking do it energy. I wrote this down. Let this be the time where you go inward. Honoring what's next after a dark night of the soul requires shining a light on our shadow, finding our golden shadow, and mining the gold from the dark. Mining the gold is a phrase that really encapsulates gaining the strengths and the lessons out of your struggles. It's all in how you look at it. Following this invitation, do what's right and just for your peace. You'll speak up if it means attaining your peace, and you'll hold yourself to a higher self-discipline if it means being where you need to be. Now I have a little journal prompt for you. Ask yourself, what am I triggered by lately? What are these emotions, even my sacred rage, trying to show me? How can I embrace this energy to hold my boundaries instead of just letting it go? You know, when we feel these really intense emotions, even rage, anger, like we just want to yell and scream and break things, don't. Obviously. I mean, scream into a pillow, rage, scream into the void. But also use those opportunities to see where those situations are meant to make you look at what is this thing that's triggering me? Why am I so triggered? And how can I break a cycle and heal some piece of my inner child or some piece of me that needs to be healed because of this rage? Your anger isn't something that needs to be let go of. It can be your best friend if you let it. Now, I'll pass it over to my illustrious co-host, Raven, where she's got some crystals, cards, and some other sage wisdom around for this time. But I'll bid you adieu. Have a wonderful time with this new moon, a great, lovely, illuminating couple of weeks. Don't forget your flashlight when you tread through the dark. Keep your inspiration sacred. I love you.
Thank you, Hakin, for that beautiful, grounding introduction and for all of your wisdom that you shared with us. this is definitely a very potent healing time for us to be in. So this new moon that we are under currently today is the Scorpio new moon, and it has very deep, very tangled webs of energy that will reach into the darkest parts of our soul and our psyche if we let it. It's going to be bringing up the questions of what is wrong, what is right, what is the way. And for those of you wondering, I got my astrological notes from Forever Conscious. I am not an astrologer. I learn as I go. So these very probing philosophical questions are going to dance around our minds under this new moon, guiding us to take the journey into the labyrinth of our own beings. So we are being called to look deeper, to feel deeper, and most importantly, to question. We must question the narratives we are being told and the narratives that we are telling ourselves. We must think for ourselves. In fact, in its essence, that is what the Scorpio new moon is offering us. It wants us to think for ourselves, to figure out what it is that we want to do and where we want to go, without the influence of others, society, or the fears of what others may think. This new moon is all about owning our own path and being true and authentic to ourselves. It wants us to march to the beat of our own drum, regardless of what tunes others are playing. Okay? Doing so takes confidence, it takes courage, but it also takes knowing thyself. And while this could be a lifelong journey of exploration, the Scorpio new moon will be assisting us in revealing a truer, deeper version of ourselves to us. So as the night sky is the darkest it will be all month, use it as a symbol to journey into yourself. Closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in, placing your hand on your heart and asking yourself, what am I feeling right now? A simple practice like this can help you to connect with your spirit, with your body, with your mind. Don't complicate it. Don't overthink it. Just spend time connecting with you and watch how your authentic self begins to speak. Watch how your inner wisdom and intuitive self begins to take over. Uranus, which is the planet of awakening and surprise, is also active under this new moon, adding to the energies we will be feeling. When we are feeling extra sensitive, like we might be under this new moon, Uranus's energy can sometimes make us feel anxiety. These things can feel erratic and a little unstable, and our lives can be prone to change and feel like there's upheaval. So Uranus can upset the status quo of our lives to get us thinking bigger and exploring broader ideas. So Uranus likes to shake us and likes to shake up the things in our lives, to trigger an awakening and to expand the ideas of life and everything in it. So Uranus's energy also favors stepping outside the box, trying something innovative or left of field, and not being so rigid about our ideas. Take a moment to look at any rigid beliefs that you may be holding. How can you turn them upside down, loosen them, or keep them flexible? How can you look at things in a new way? Uranus doesn't like to follow the rules. It is energy that is completely unpredictable, but it keeps things interesting to keep us in awe of this life journey we are on. and what it has in store for us. So embrace some of this Uranian energy by giving yourself permission to think bigger, to explore wider, and to take a step outside the box. Don't be locked into the ideas of others or what society or culture tells you. You are being called to lift the veil and see a new and higher truth. You are being called to look at alternatives and not ignore the inner voice that is waiting to speak with you. Neptune is also active under this new moon, which indicates that perhaps a veil will be lifted on the world stage too. Perhaps new information or insights will come that will shine a light on a higher truth. Secrets may be exposed, or we may find that we believe that what we believe to be true is no longer. Our beliefs and ideas are what we deem to be our authentic self. And it is always growing, and it is always evolving, and it is always reaching new and higher states of consciousness. And that is the journey of life. What is true for us today might not be true for us tomorrow. So we keep doing the best we can while loving ourselves, loving one another, and trying not to judge the journey. Now, Hakin gave us some really awesome journal prompts. And so with the energy of like shadow work and diving deeper, a dear friend of mine, Sienna, she owns a little shop called Demure Life, Demure Life, Lyfe. Go check her out. Her name is Sienna Van Dunk. But she posted shadow work journal prompts for fitting for this Scorpio new moon. So I just wanted to share those with you guys as well, so you can add those with the journal prompts that Hakin provided with you earlier, and you will have like a really juicy ceremony ritual with yourself, really getting into the nooks and the crannies and all of the healing. And this is a really potent time, so definitely dive into any resources that you feel called to dive into. So there are 5 journal prompts for peace of mind, okay? So the first one is, what aspects of my life require transformation and healing? What aspects of my life require transformation and healing? Number 2, how can I embrace my shadow self and integrate it into my being? How can I embrace my shadow self and integrate it into my being? Number 3, what fears or attachments do I need to release in order to evolve? Feel into that one, right? What fears or attachments do I need to release in order to evolve? Woo! Number 4 is, what emotional patterns or behaviors no longer serve my growth? What emotional patterns or behaviors no longer serve my growth? And last but not least, how can I cultivate more intimacy and trust in my relationships? And that's not just romantic, that's relationships with your partner or partners. It's relationships with your friends, with your family, chosen family, with yourself, most importantly. And I know that that's not easy, and I want to speak to that for just a second, because we always hear like you have to love yourself first before you can know love, and like all of these things, but I call hogwash, because I myself have had a very interesting journey back to myself. And for most of my life, I did not love myself. And so I did not source from a place where I was loving myself. I was choosing subconsciously. I was choosing relationships that were sabotaging. I was choosing relationships that were neglectful, and they were not good for me. And where those relationships stopped neglecting me, I actually started neglecting myself to pick it up and keep the neglect going. So once I recognized this and I started the slow, deep journey of softening and coming back to myself and loving myself little by little, it was a game changer. And so I just want to speak to the fact that it is not easy to love ourselves, and most people out here are not loving themselves. So it's not easy, and you absolutely can know love before you love yourself. That's not true, because you have us here in Sacred Inspirations. We love you. You have your chosen family in your life. They love you. You have your friends. You have your colleagues, whoever in your life, and you are loved. There's no question about it. You do know love. And I truly believe that once we feel that true, genuine, authentic love in our lives, whether it's romantic, platonic, whatever, those true, genuine soul relationships, they will see that goodness in you. They will see that light in you and your full potential and who you are. And they will help you see it too. Not in an unhealthy, codependent way, but in a interdependent way. Okay, so that last one again was, how can I cultivate more intimacy and trust in my relationships? Then I went through and I picked some crystals that I felt would work well with this new moon. So what I found interesting was that when I was writing down crystals that I felt would actually fit the energies of this moon, and I wrote them all down in a list before I went through to write down their properties, just like writing down their names. I went to my friend Sarah. She owns a business called Twisted Goddess Tarot and Twisted Goddess Crystals, and every new zodiac season, right? So every time the time of year shifts into a new sign, she actually puts together a crystal bundle for that sign, for people who are that sign who might want it, or for people who just might want easy access to a crystal bundle that will help them easier navigate that energy for that time. And our lists were almost parallel. So I did take some of her explanations as to why, because she definitely explains it way better than I do. So the first one was Labradorite. Labradorite. I'm pretty sure I said that right. I found out for the longest time I was saying it wrong. Okay. So let me see if I went and grabbed a personal piece of my own. I don't know if you can really see. There's the flash. Okay. This is actually a really pretty piece. It's got lines in it and stuff, but I just want to show you the flash. Labradorite is gorgeous, gorgeous stone. There we go. Okay. So Labradorite is often considered the stone of transformation. And Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the planet of transformation. And also, what I really like about Labradorite is it's also called the shaman stone. And it also is really good with putting up a spiritual protection while filtering and letting things through that you need for your personal growth and development. And I just think it's a great stone to work with when you're kind of diving into deeper waters for the self. Um, then there is carnelian, and I actually got this carnelian flame from her, from Twisted Goddess Crystals. Carnelian flame. Carnelian helps us to conquer our fears. Scorpio was traditionally ruled by Mars, the planet of action and courage, before Pluto was discovered. Carnelian pays honor to the passionate Mars side of Scorpio energy, while also lightening and brightening up this sometimes heavy and intense energy. It's also called the Warrior Stone, which is why I felt called to it, because when we navigate the deeper depths that Scorpio likes to pull us through. I'm a Scorpio rising, by the way, so I absolutely love going to the depths. Sometimes I stay on there too long. You know, there is such thing as like healing burnout, I feel like. And so sometimes like we are just so focused on healing and ooh, what's this and 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 why do I do that and why does this tick and why, like, it's great, but also at the same time you're not giving yourself a chance to rest, to integrate, to be present in the day-to-day life. You know, it's so again, that's where the labradorite's going to come in and really help smooth the sailing. But carnelian is that warrior stone, so it really helps us get into the let's go, yeah, energy. Then there's sodalite. You all got lucky. I only own one piece of sodalite, and I feel, and this is because I've never vibed with sodalite. It's been a stone that I've actually been adverse to. I just don't like it. And yes, it's absolutely because there's a reason, there's a blockage or something there. So I definitely need to work with it. So I will be having my sodalite out with me working during this new moon and under the Scorpio season. But here is a nice little piece for you to look at. Sodalite it looks a lot like lapis lazuli. It just doesn't have the pyrite flecks in it like lapis lazuli does. They're like first cousins in my mind. Okay. So sodalite pairs with intuition, opening perceptions and blending observable information with intuitive nudges. No wonder I need to work with this stone. Scorpio is just as in tune with messages received from the five senses as they are with messages received from intuition alone. And sodalite enhances and strengthens that gift. Next, we have snowflake obsidian. Let's see the little snowflakes. I have a heart of it somewhere, but I gave it to my son. It's like a big puffy heart of it. But my son, I gave it to him. Snowflake obsidian, besides what I'm about to explain it to you for, is also a really great stone for grief and loss. So snowflake obsidian adds additional properties of balance to grounding and shielding properties of regular obsidian. Obsidian is a truth-telling stone and is especially useful in shadow work to balance and integrate the light and the dark. Scorpio energy is comfortable in the depths and may sometimes need the reminder to come back to the light. What was I just saying? Then we have clear quartz, right? Beautiful, beautiful clear quartz. And clear quartz is the master healer, and it also assists with any other energies that may arise during the astrological season. It also works to clear the channel. It helps to heighten your intuition, helps to heighten your gifts naturally, and it also boosts any properties of the stones that it is associated with. So it's a master healer, a master booster, master manifester. Next we have ametrine, or you could also, if you don't have ametrine, you can also use amethyst and citrine because that's what it's made of. So ametrine, I don't know if I'll be able to, yeah, you can see the little band of citrine right here through the ametrine. So ametrine is actually, yes, a naturally growing stone of naturally existing amethyst and citrine together. The reason for this is the temperature change while the crystal is growing, because amethyst and citrine are both quartz. They're both actually quartz. But depending on the temperature while they were growing, they turned into amethyst or citrine. So it's interesting to see that it was one temperature, then it kind of changed, and that band of citrine grew inside of it, and then it switched back over to amethyst. So that's interesting. So amethyst is believed to have the ability to harmonize and balance the energies of the body, mind, and spirit. It is also thought to have the power to clear the mind and enhance mental clarity, making it an excellent stone for meditation and spiritual growth. I just thought that those energies would be beneficial, especially if we're diving into the depths. We want to kind of get that clarity and that grounding and that balance at the same time. It's very important that we remain balanced, right? Next, I was going to 1 second. I know many of you probably recognize this bad boy, right? So this is selenite satin spar. And this is true selenite. Not that this isn't real, they're both real. They're both in the gypsum family. But this, which you oftentimes see sold as selenite, is actually selenite satin spar. Same thing, grows a different way. This is selenite satin spar. This is true selenite. It looks like a window, right? And it's like a little booklet. The properties are basically the same. So selenite is the last stone that I chose for us. And the reason that I chose it is because selenite is one of the most important tools in any energy worker or crystal lover's arsenal. Selenite exists as a gateway between nature on one side and spirit on the other. It interfaces between the two universes, helping them cooperate. It's highly vibrational and it's highly extreme vibration floods your energy field with the highest vibrations of light, uplifting your spirit and giving you an elevated state of being. Selenite cleanses not only you, but your crystals. So you can continue doing your work, and your crystals can continue doing their work for you. So it's always good to have selenite. You know, if you say, for instance, you're going live or you're making a video or you have to talk to people and you have that, you have social anxiety, or, you know, it just makes you nervous, you can hold a piece of selenite and it'll keep you calm, clear, and grounded so that you can give it your best. Or, you know, if there's certain crystals that you carry on you all the time, and especially when you've been really going through a rough time, do not forget to cleanse your crystals with your selenite, especially your black tourmaline, because black tourmaline is an extreme, like, negative energy vacuum. Like, it sucks it all up, but it can't hold it all. Selenite. Selenite, selenite, selenite. That is it for my astro notes. I pulled cards for us this week. I pulled from the realm of the Neolithic Goddess Wisdom deck, which is actually by the woman Sienna Van Dunk that I mentioned earlier in the video, who owns the shop Demore Life. She created this deck with the lovely Mary Altabelli. Mary did the paintings, did the artwork. This deck is amazing. It was dedicated to our cousin Two Clouds, who was taken from us last year. Very beautiful deck. So we got 2 cards that jumped out for us together. They jumped out together. I only pulled jumpers. So the first card we got is Recharge. And Recharge says to rest and listen to your body. If you take more time to recharge, you can help more people and help yourself. Then we got the Blue Heron. And the Blue Heron says, the medicine of the Blue Heron is self-awareness. You may be aware of things that you don't need to do. You may be aware of things you need to do to be your best and highest self. You don't need to beat yourself up on the things that won't immediately shift. Self-awareness is a gift that requires the mastery of patience. And I'm back to making sigils. For those who don't know, I used to make literally a sigil a day, and it was sigil of the day, and I would post it every single day. And I'm actually working on a sigil deck. So I made a sigil for us. So for those of you who would like to use this sigil, sorry, my nose ring is itchy. For those of you who would like to be able to harness this energy and use this sigil, you are more than welcome. I made it for all of us. And to use this, all you need to do is draw it on a piece of paper. You can rip the paper, you can draw it on a bay leaf and burn it. You can draw it on your arm. You can get the condensation from your window, draw it on your window. You could carve it in a candle. If you have the glass pillar candles, you know, like the votive candles, you can literally take a dry erase marker and draw the sigil on the candle and light the candle. It's all about that transformation magic, baby. Okay. So this is the sigil, right? And the sigil means I descend to my innermost depths of transformation and ascend reborn as an embodiment of my fullest expression under this Scorpio new moon. And yes, this will be in the sigil deck. So I know that you guys are all probably like, oh, but I want to see the card again, or what were the crystals again, or what was the sigil again? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post the sigil, the cards, the crystals, all of that. I'm going to post them on our Sacred Inspirations Facebook page. In the comment section of this video, this is going to be posted into our group. So if you're watching this, go back to our group, look on, and I'm going to post all of this stuff so that you can go back, you can draw the sigil, you can journal on the cards if you want to, and you know what crystals to work with if you want to work with the crystals and all of that. So I hope that this Scorpio new moon is everything that you want and need it to be, and I hope that it helps you uncover some beautiful wisdom and unlock some healing. That's it for me. Thank you for watching our video on this Scorpio new moon. Remember, you are a sacred inspiration. So walk in love and keep it sacred. Blessed be.